Centaur, your kind of company. Centaur, your kind of company.
Tonight on Ctv3 News, Dr. Richard Rosado sworn in as Belize's new Commissioner of Police, promising reform and community engagement. Chester Williams moves on to the Ministry of Transport as its new CEO. He says it is a bittersweet moment. Outgoing Commissioner of Police Chester Williams calls out Patrick Farber for provoking police. He also slams officers for not requesting blood or urine samples in the case. And government launches full investigation and reforms following Holy Thursday's plane hijacking. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, April 30th, 2025.
It's the biggest pro SC card of the year, as 3 titles are at stake. As lightweight champion Marvin Mundo defends his belt against the #1 contender Raheem Lambe, and flyweight champion Jeffrey Martinez faces a hard-hitting Mexican Miguel Garcia Calderon. Plus KO specialist Diego Lopez from Honduras goes toe-to-toe with Kalen Smith from Belize City for the bantamweight belt. There will also be 11 other exciting MMA fights, including a special international female fight as May Blanco from Mexico faces the Nicaraguan Lady Oscarina Lopez in what is sure to be the fight of the night. General admission tickets are only $30 and VIP tickets are $100. On Saturday, May 17th, Prophecy Fighting Championship presents Pro FC 60 Martinez versus Garcia, live from the Princess Vegas Hotel and Casino in Santa Elena, Corazon, exclusively on the Express Plus app.
Pro FC 16 is brought to you by Sherwin-Williams, DigiWallet, Corozal Commercial Free Zone, Bellikin Stout.
Electricity is essential for everyday life, but behind every outlet, a lot is happening to bring you safe, reliable, and sustainable energy. Let's start at the beginning. Independent power producers across Belize generate electricity using a mix of renewable and non-renewable resources. Electricity travels across a network of high-voltage transmission lines capable of transmitting electricity across long distances. Electricity then reaches your nearest substation, where it is adjusted to a lower voltage, making it safe to travel on the distribution lines you see in your community. From there, electricity makes its final journey from the distribution lines to your home, providing you with safe and reliable power when you need it. Belize Electricity Limited. We continue to serve you.
Have you seen Lori?
Check in at the White Lotus, where paradise turns into a playground for the privileged, and every sun-soaked moment is dripping with intrigue. Stream The
Have a
White
wonderful
Lotus
last day.
on HBO Max, available with Centaur.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Face FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. In a significant leadership transition, Dr. Richard Rosado was officially sworn in today as Belize's new Commissioner of Police, succeeding Clyde Williams, who has stepped into the role of Chief Executive Officer at the Ministry of Transport. The ceremony took place at the Belize Police Department headquarters, where senior officials, officers, and members of the community gathered to witness the formal induction of the seasoned law enforcement official. Dr. Rosados' appointment marks a new chapter for the Belize Police Department as he brings the decades of experience and a compelling personal story to the position. A veteran officer with over 20 years of service, Dr. Rosados' journey to the top is characterized by resilience, dedication, and a deep-rooted commitment to justice. Raised in Southside Belize City, he experienced first-hand the challenges faced by many communities in the nation's urban areas. Today, he told the media that his personal experiences, including overcoming loss and adversity, have fueled his passion for reforming the police force to better serve and protect all Belizeans.
Honestly, I'm still wondering if I'm dreaming, but I know the intense weight of the responsibility, and I know that it will not be an easy journey. But with the support of the public and all stakeholders, I believe we can do a lot and make our community much safer.
Talk about your vision for your tenure.
Honestly, first of all, my message to the public is one of commitment and collaboration. I am dedicated to reforming, refocusing, and rebuilding the police department. Like I said, I know it will not be an easy journey, but with the support of the public and all stakeholders, I believe we can create safer communities and a more transparent and more effective police department. And addressing critical security challenges like gang violence, illicit trafficking of firearms, transnational crimes, cybercrime, do require a collaborative and multifaceted approach. Hence, I believe that through our prevention, through intervention, and through our enforcement strategies, we will reduce gang violence, we will disrupt the illicit flow of trafficking of firearms, and we will ensure that we address the growing threat of cybercrime and transnational crimes.
According to the commissioner, his order of business will be to meet with officers across the board.
That I meet with all my police officers at all levels to understand what are the challenges and what are the community concerns. I also intend to meet with the different churches, the different community leaders, the different organizations to see how we can work as a collaborative team, because my mantra have always been that to address crime effectively, we must do it as a stakeholder-centric approach.
Well, were there any words of advice that Compo gave you, the former Compo?
Honestly, he has extended his hand and asked that if I ever need any guidance, I can always reach out to him. And he has remained open to the continued dialogue, especially now that he'll be the CEO of Transport. And we discussed several things in terms of interoperabilities of our database, because we have realized within the police department, we have a number of databases, but they are not speaking to one another. We have a number of databases with our agencies, with the different state law enforcement agencies. But these databases, there is no interoperability among one another.
Realizing the important role that the media play in disseminating information, the Compo says he is committed to an open and professional relationship with the media. Dr. Rosados' educational achievements include earning a doctorate in police leadership, a testament to his dedication to professional development and excellence in law enforcement. Throughout his career, he has been an advocate for police reform, emphasizing transparency, accountability, and community engagement as essential pillars for building trust and improving public safety. As for outgoing Commissioner Clyde Williams, who has served with distinction, he expressed confidence in his successor's capabilities and vision. But at the end of the day, he told the media Today's farewell was a bittersweet moment for him.
So it is bitter to the extent that it is what I have been doing all my life, and it is sour because I am leaving, and it is sweet for the simple fact that I now get an opportunity to go somewhere else and see how best I can continue to serve my country. The Ministry of Constitutional, Religious Affairs, Indigenous Affairs and Transport is a ministry with a lot of responsibilities. We all know that traffic is a problem in this country. We saw the amount of fatalities on our highways last year, and certainly it is the mandate of this government to make sure that we don't have a repeat of last year. And so moving over with Dr. Zab at that ministry is certainly something I welcome. I look forward to doing what we can to address the plague that confronts commuters. I traverse this country from Punta Gorda to Corozal, from Belize City to Benke, and on many occasions I see the type of buses on our highways that our commuters have to bear the pain to ride in the morning to go to work and in the evening to go home. Many a times we see these buses broke down on the side of the road, commuters standing outside waiting for transport to get them to work or get them back home. These are things that need to stop. You pay for a service, it's expected that you'll get good service, and so
Williams has officially taken over the position of CEO in the Ministry of Transport. He moves into his new office on Friday, since tomorrow is a holiday. Yesterday morning, former Colette Area Representative Patrick Faber was taken into custody following an incident that unfolded shortly after he appeared at a press conference alongside opposition leader Tracy Tager-Panton. According to police reports, Faber was attempting to evade a checkpoint near the Bell China Bridge when he allegedly sped through, prompting officers to initiate a pursuit. Upon stopping his vehicle, officers discovered that it was unlicensed and that Faber was unable to produce a driver's license at the scene, claiming it was at his residence. Subsequently, police followed Faber to his home, where he produced his license. While officers were issuing traffic tickets, Faber began recording one of the officers and held his phone close to the officer's face, actions that police saw amounted to assault and obstruction. Faber was detained and brought before the Belize City Magistrates Court, where he pleaded not guilty to the charges. Outside court, he dismissed the allegations as politically motivated, denying any impairment from alcohol or drugs, and asserting that he did not obstruct police. The incident has sparked debate over the actions of both parties. But for outgoing Police Commissioner Chester Williams, who addressed the matter today, Faber was provoking and intimidating the officers.
I think those two police officers need to be commended. They were extremely calm, extremely patient, and extremely professional. I personally, and when I said to people when I saw the video, I said to them, if I were those police, I would have thumped him. And I said that. He was certainly provocative, intimidating. We have said over and over, there's nothing wrong for any citizen to record the police. The police are out there performing a duty. We have nothing to hide. Our actions can be recorded by anybody. But while you do so, you cannot obstruct the police. So for him to be all up in the face of the police, and for OJ to be so cynical yesterday, insinuating to the media that they're assaulting him because the cameras are so close, that was the stupidest excuse, right? The cameras yesterday were not coming into his face. He stood there for an interview. Even as the police told him, give me working space, just step back a bit. He constantly was in the face of the police. And when the police went up a stairs, you saw where he climbed up the stairs going after the police. That was unnecessary. Then he will say to the police that the police were assaulting a public officer. Really? The law is clear. If you assault a public officer in the execution of their duty, it did not say if you assault a public officer who may be drinking or who may be drunk, right? If you are drinking or you are drunk, even if you're a police and you're out there under the influence, your duties as a police officer is removed. Okay, you cannot then shield yourself with the law to say that you're acting in its spirit of a duty while you were drunk. The law does not cover you there. So we must ensure we apply the law the way it should. And for him to say he's going to make a counter complaint against the police or a press complaint, it is not going. Well, I'm not the commissioner no more, but I don't think that it is going to be entertained. And I gave that instruction yesterday that it must not be entertained. Again, those police officers should be commended for the exceptional job that they did, and this has nothing to do with politics. It's not that the police officer matter is the political chair of any POP committee. Everyone who saw the video, who is an objective and reasonable thinker, can see for themselves that Mr. Farber was the one who was aggressing, was the one who was intimidating, and was the one who was provoking those police officers.
And as the case continues to draw attention, Williams says the officers dropped the ball since they did not ask Farber for a blood or urine sample. Almost 2 weeks have gone by since the entire country was placed on pause for over 2 hours as an American national hijacked a Tropic Air passenger aircraft. Today, the government of Belize, through the Ministry of Civil Aviation, along with its stakeholders, held a press conference to update the nation on the ongoing investigation. This afternoon's press conference comes following a meeting this morning, which was attended by representatives from all air operators, the Belize Department of Civil Aviation, and the Belize Airports Authority, and the ministry, which included Prime Minister John Rosenio. This meeting focused on urgent reforms to safety protocols amid growing public concern. CEO in the Ministry of Civil Aviation, Narda Garcia, in her address this afternoon, assured Belizeans that the government will carry out a full report at the close of the investigation of the hijacker, Ainkela Taylor.
Preliminary findings indicate that it was not a coordinated criminal act targeting our aviation infrastructure. While I cannot divulge operational specifics at this stage, I assure you that our security forces, in collaboration with international partners, have made significant progress in identifying the gaps and vulnerabilities that led to the situation. A full report will be released on the assailant once the full investigation concludes. On security enhancements, this incident has exposed vulnerabilities that demanded immediate action. Effective immediately after the incident, the following measures were and will be implemented at all local aerodromes in addition to the short-term measures. The Director of Civil Aviation will detail more of this, but I will point out some. We have enhanced passenger and baggage screening, strengthened onboard security protocols, aerodrome surveillance, collaboration with regional partners, and public awareness campaigns. To the media and public, we urge calm but vigilance. Belize's aerodromes remain open and travel is safe. However, we ask travelers to arrive earlier to accommodate enhanced security procedures. Let me be clear, Belize will not tolerate acts of violence that threaten our people or our reputation as a secure destination. These measures are not temporary. They are the foundation of a renewed commitment to aviation safety.
The director of the Joint Intelligence and Operations Center, JIOC, was responsible for coordinating the response on that dreadful Thursday morning.
Later on, probably around 8:45, 8:46, we got credible information that we were dealing with a hijack situation. At that point, because of the early warning, the Belize Police Department, the BDF, and the Coast Guard were already at the Philip Wilson International Airport. Just something to note is that because earlier we received the information that it was an assumed hijacking, we requested that the BDF deploys their Special Operations Task Unit, which is known as SOTO, and the Coast Guard likewise, the Coast Guard deploys their Special Operations Group, known as the CSAG, because those are the two special forces from those organizations that are highly trained to deal with these types of events like a hijack. So they were called and they were there at the Philip Wilson International Airport. I will just kind of speed up because we all know the incidents, but basically earlier all indications were that the plane was going towards the Philip Golson Airport. So we deployed those 3 security forces at that particular location. Later on, again, we know that the aircraft bypassed the Philip Golson International Airport and it was now heading to San Pedro. And the thing here to highlight is that JIOC basically responded again without wasting time, and we coordinated that the security forces be redeployed to other parts of this country. They were at San Pedro, they were at Kikakar, they were at Kichapel, they were also at the municipal airstrip, and they also maintained presence at the Philip Golson International Airport. Furthermore, adding to that, we had the Coast Guard with their vessels out in the sea just to be there in the event that the plane had crash landed basically out in the sea. And we also had the BDF Air Wing airborne flying right behind the aircraft just to, like I said, in the worst case scenario, it crash lands at sea or it crash lands somewhere in Belize district general area. We knew, or we would have had that information right away and then deploy security forces and medical assistance if needed. And before I forget, I must also highlight that the BDF also deployed the doctors and the medics to the Philip Golson International Airport, just in the event that we were dealing with a mass casualty event and that the local healthcare were overwhelmed.
In addition to local coordination, JIOC was also responsible for regional coordination during the incident on Holy Thursday to ensure the aircraft safety in the skies.
Also, what I want to highlight from the JIOC's perspective is that JIOC, further than just coordinating the joint efforts of the security forces here in Belize, JIOC also plays that role of coordinating with our regional partners, Central America, Mexico, US. So whenever we receive the initial, before getting the confirmation that the hijacker was a US citizen, we informed the US Embassy through our counterpart, which is the Security Operation Office. Likewise, because we also got the information that the individual demanded to be flown to the United States, we immediately alerted our Mexican counterparts that we deal with to let them know that what was happening in Belize. Because the last thing that we wanted to know or wanted to happen is that aircraft flies over their airspace without authorization and basically being shut down. No? So out of precaution, we informed our Mexican counterparts.
And as the entire country has now been made aware of, the plane hijacking on Holy Thursday was a success story, mainly due to the quick thinking and bravery of pilot Howell Grange. Deputy Director of Civil Aviation Stanley Gideon says Grange's ruse was what kept all those people alive.
And this is where the rules started. He asked them to please speak in Spanish. He wants to pretend that he's going through Mexico airspace on his way to the United States. And when he got closer, and the rules is when they have transversed Mexican airspace, to have an American voice come on. And this went without a hitch. That was the amazing part of this, that ATC picked up on the pilot's rules, and for the next hour and a half thereabout in the airspace. This aircraft, as you can see, I'm pretty sure some of you guys have flight tracker and was monitoring. This aircraft never left Belizean airspace. The pilot flew in a way to confuse the hijacker and stayed over the water. And what we learned is that he started to stay in the clouds. And this way, ATC could have continued the ruse. So when he spoke back to us and says in Spanish that he's permission to transit through Mexican airspace, the air traffic controller answered as though he was a Mexican air traffic controller and cleared him, while at the same time giving vectors to make sure that he stayed close to any potential landing airports in Belize. When it was time to come back to Belize International Airport as such, The rules was now to ask for an American accent to pretend that they're coming in to land in American airport. And the airport at that time was Lambert International, which was in Mississippi, Missouri. Sorry.
As investigations into the hijacking of a tropic aircraft on Holy Thursday continues, the Department of Civil Aviation is working to implement immediate security measures in all local aerodromes, as well as medium and long-term measures to improve the overall system as it relates to domestic commercial air travel in Belize. Director of Civil Aviation Nigel Carter today highlighted some of those measures, which includes assigning police officers at all airstrips nationwide.
The government of Belize on April 17th, on Holy Thursday, deployed police officers to all aerodromes. The CEO and the ministry consulted with the domestic airlines, and we required them to put in place basic security measures, which would be passenger screening, bag screening, and so forth. That to date is still currently ongoing. We have worked to strengthen the security protocols. As of last Friday, we have conducted a full sweep of all aerodromes that provide services to commercial air transports of scheduled operations. We have done a full sweep of those with regional partners with the intent of identifying the best possible and most efficient way of implementing these security measures. I want to highlight that the information used in Belize will be shared with the region in collaboration with the region so that similar measures can be replicated in other places. So I will be remiss if I don't highlight the fact that we had previously worked with the Belize Airports Authority insofar as strengthening aviation security. They have currently engaged a private security company with the intent of this company providing aviation security at the different domestic aerodromes where commercial air services occur. I can say to you that the employees of this security company are currently being trained, and there is, as part of the requirements, there is going to be experience building using trained security officers to guide them so as to ensure that the highest level of integrity is maintained.
Additionally, passengers will be screened and baggage checked before boarding any domestic flight. Metal detectors and other security measures will be gradually introduced as infrastructure is improved to include new aerodromes and more training made available for pertinent stakeholders. In a recent diplomatic engagement, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke with Belize Prime Minister John Briceño to reinforce the enduring partnership between the two nations and to extend congratulations on Briceño's re-election earlier this month. During their conversation, Secretary Rubio praised Belize's ongoing efforts to address regional security challenges, including combating illegal immigration, supporting security operations in Haiti, and tackling transnational organized crime. The two leaders also discussed regional cooperation and Belize's continued engagement with the International Court of Justice (ICJ). Rubio highlighted Belize's leadership role within the region and expressed appreciation for its contributions to regional stability. However, the call also touched upon a significant setback for Belize, the imminent loss of a substantial U.S. development grant. The Department of Government Efficiency recently made the unexpected decision to shut down the Millennium Challenge Corporation (MCC), a key agency responsible for administering foreign aid and development projects. This move jeopardizes a 5-year, $125 million grant that was set to support crucial projects in Belize's education and energy sectors. But while the cancellation of the agreement has made its wrongs on the media. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Francis Fonseca, says government has received no formal cancellation of the project.
Let me first make it very clear that we have received no official formal notice of the cancellation of the MCC program. But obviously we have seen reports of that. It appears likely. Again, this is a matter Prime Minister Briceño raised with Secretary Rubio, and he again pledged, and he is in fact the chair of the MCC. I think the new administration reconfigured the board, and I think, as I understand it, the Secretary of State is the chairman of the MCC on this new structure. So he said that, you know, he would look into the matter and find out exactly what the situation was in terms of Belize. So we'll have to wait and see there. But yes, we're disappointed. I am disappointed. Belize has done a lot of work. We spent, I think, more than 2 years preparing, working very closely with our MCC colleagues. You know, it's not something that Belize went looking for. The MCC funds came from the US government. They're the ones who identified Belize, selected Belize. They're the ones who said, listen, Belize, you're on the right track in terms of governance reform, in terms of economic reform. You're on the right track. We want to help you. We want to support you. We want to work with you to identify key areas of constraints to national development. So we worked together. We identified those two critical areas, education and energy, as two constraints to Belize's development. And then we together worked on developing the compacts, the actual compact agreements and documents, one for education, one for energy. So a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort went into this work, more than, as I said, more than 2.5 years or so. So obviously, when something like that is brought to an end abruptly, without a proper explanation, then you're very disappointed. You're very disappointed.
The MCC had entered into a historic agreement with Belize in September 2024, marking one of the country's most substantial foreign aid investments. The agreement was signed by Prime Minister Briceño and MCC CEO Alice Albright in a ceremony attended by notable figures, including former U.S. Ambassador to Belize Michelle Kwan and Minister of State Christopher Coyne. Coming up next, campaign in full swing to contain measles. Stay tuned.
Attention farmers! The New World screwworm is a serious threat to livestock, pets, wildlife, and humans. It causes yield losses, damages the quality of meat and skins, and can even kill them if left untreated. Check your animals daily. If you see any wounds on them, treat them immediately. Prevention is key. Apply approved healing and fly repellents to the navel of newborn animals after dehorning, ear tagging, or any other practice that leaves wounds on your animals to ensure your animal's well-being. If you notice worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately. Call Baja at 824-4872 or text or WhatsApp 670-7003 or call your nearest Ministry of Agriculture office. And don't forget, never transport or receive animals with injuries. Together, we will prevent the spread of this dangerous disease. This message was brought to you by Baja, OIRSA, AICA, USDA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, and Enterprise.
In a recent development within the legal community, Dale Cayetano, who previously served as the director of the family court before transitioning into private legal practice, has received a formal reprimand from the General Legal Counsel. The council determined that Cayetano's conduct in a specific case constituted professional misconduct. The disciplinary action follows a complaint lodged by litigant Lorena Chilin. According to the council's findings, Cayetano violated established ethical guidelines by representing a client in a matter where he had prior involvement as a judicial officer, specifically during his tenure as family court director. Evidence presented during the hearing indicated that Cayetano had presided over a contempt of court hearing related to the case in his official capacity. Subsequently, after establishing his private practice, he appeared as legal counsel for the opposing side, Mr. Boloy. This sequence of events was deemed to breach Rule 73 of the Legal Code, which explicitly forbids attorneys from taking on private cases involving matters they previously handled in a public or judicial role. Furthermore, Cayetano was found to have violated Rule 4, which emphasizes the importance of maintaining the dignity and integrity of the legal profession. Witnesses, including Chilin and Mrs. Quiroz, testified that Cayetano had engaged in discussions concerning the case with Chilin without revealing that he would later represent the opposing party. Cayetano contested some of these claims. However, the council dismissed his explanations, stating that although the misconduct did not lead to significant harm, it nonetheless warranted a formal reprimand. As a result, Cayetano is now prohibited from participating in any future proceedings involving Chilin and Boloy within the family court. While this incident marks Cayetano's first recorded disciplinary infraction, the council emphasized the importance of ethical vigilance and urged him to exercise greater caution in selecting future cases. The ruling underscores the legal profession's ongoing commitment to upholding ethical standards and maintaining public trust. As we reported earlier this week, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, MOHW, confirmed 5 additional cases of measles within a group of close contacts of the 2 initial imported cases detected on April 12, 2025. These new cases were diagnosed between April 9th and 13th and have been confirmed to be closely linked to the first 2 confirmed infections. Given the current situation, the Ministry of Health has ramped up its nationwide surveillance efforts while also continuing its education and vaccination campaigns. Here in Orange Walk Town, the immunization department within the Northern Regional Hospital have been doing their rounds to share more information about measles and what we can do to protect ourselves and our family.
Normally, when we do get measles, our immune system knows how to control this, knows how to create defenses against it. But the getting it and suffering the ongoing complications, it doesn't validate the fact of you being exposed. Okay, so it's better to avoid it. Avoid it by vaccinating, and that's the main way to avoid measles. Now, what you were saying, yes, measles has phases. We may have been exposed to a measles case and we don't even know it, but we have the incubation period that takes 10 to 14 days. We have been exposed, we don't know it, and then we have it in our body, and then 10, 14 days pass, and then you start with high fever.
Now, while for some measles is an unknown, experts share that the virus is not a new infection in Belize, and there is a vaccine available that is highly effective in protecting us against the disease.
In 1935, we had 124 deaths of measles
in Belize. We're talking
about
Belize.
In Belize, this is Belize, and the population was very small back then. And then in 1972, we had 501 cases of measles reported. And this is gotten out of the medical reports from the archives.
Okay.
And in 1973, the measles vaccine was introduced. And it took us how many years until the last case reported in Belize was 1991. And MMR, which is now the combined measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, the one dose was introduced in 1996. And in 2005, the second dose was introduced. Because the first dose gets you a 95% coverage for the measles. With the second dose, you reach to 97%. Right? Okay. So, and you look at it, 1991 was the last case, and now in 2025, we have the new 2 cases being reported.
The national vaccination campaign remains in full swing, and the ministry is encouraging the public to ensure that you are vaccinated. The measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine is given to babies in 2 doses, one at 12 months and the second at 18 months.
If you don't have a record,
yes,
you don't know if you got the measles, yes or no, just get vaccinated.
Okay.
If you know that you have your 2 doses, you don't need to get a booster.
The measles virus is highly contagious and causes serious signs and symptoms which may even lead to death if left untreated.
The treatment treatment for measles does not exist. Okay, it's a virus, so we don't have a cure for viruses. We don't have an antiviral for measles. So what we have to do is we have to treat the symptoms, right? The high fever, we treat it with an antipyretic, something that will bring down the fever, hydrate the patient. We can give antihistamines for the itchiness, and we can give soothing lotions like calamine lotion on the body. We give a dose of vitamin A. I think Nurse Abel is gonna emphasize on how we do the vitamin A treatment. Okay, but we don't abuse the vitamin A. Okay.
The Inter-American Institute for Cooperation and Agriculture, IICA, has donated 640 cans of superchlor and 250 units of Iverbest to the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, BAHA, to support ongoing efforts to combat the New World screwworm. These veterinary supplies will help improve wound treatment, disrupt the pest life cycle, and prevent further infections in livestock across the country. Since the first case was detected in December 2024, Belize has confirmed 63 cases of NWS, one of the lowest counts in Central America, with no human infections reported. Notably, Belize has managed this without using the sterile fly release technique common in other countries. Minister Mike credited this success to a coordinated national strategy led by BAHA, supporting by the Ministry of Agriculture, the Belize Livestock Producers Association, and regional and international partners including IICA and OIRSA. Minister Mai, who currently chairs the Regional Committee of Agriculture Ministers, CIRSA, is leading discussions on a joint eradication strategy for Central America. Belize's approach will serve as a model in developing a region-wide plan, which will be presented to international agencies, such as a model in developing a region-wide plan, which will be presented to international agencies, such as USDA, APHIS, for support and funding.
Yeah,
over the past few days, the Sugarcane Farmers Association, as well as residents of Orange Walk Town, have been receiving free medical assistance from a team of doctors from the Coastline Community Church, a medical mission from Melbourne, Florida. The free clinics are part of a collaboration between the Coastline Community, the Northern Regional Hospital, and the BCFA in an effort to provide free checkups for cane farmers from the north as well as their families. Today was day 3 of the medical mission here in the north, which has been ongoing for several years. This year, the team was focusing on providing treatment and care for residents suffering from chronic diseases, particularly diabetes and high blood pressure.
Yeah, it's been great. We've been seeing about 150 people a day, We've seen a lot of all kinds of things. We're seeing a lot of diabetes that needs better control. We've seen a lot of high blood pressure, a lot of infections, respiratory, lung infections, sinus infections, a lot of skin infections, a lot of skin conditions, and just a whole array of different things that we're seeing. So.
Since the start of the free clinics, more than 500 Orange Rockeños have benefited from the services being provided by the team of healthcare professionals.
Well, we are trying to come, because of our great Pastor Nathan, we have a relationship with the country of Belize. He was a full-time missionary here in Belize for 5 or 6 years and so that's how we know about Belize. We've been coming here since 2019, have fallen in love with the country and the people, and we all feel it's a calling at this point to come here. So now Orange Walk, it was our very first trip. We came here and we saw mostly cane farmers, and then the last few times we've expanded that just to see the people in Orange Walk, and we're very comfortable seeing the people here. We love the people here, and we feel like we're doing a lot of good.
Having visited Belize for several years, mission leader Dr. Andrew Atkinson today also shared the team's vision for the coming years as they continue to provide free medical services across Belize.
Yeah, I will probably be coming here at least every other year. What we're trying to do, we're one church and in the States, and what we're trying to do is take our methodology, how we're doing this, which we think we're very effective, and bring other teams from other churches all over the United States to come down here. So the vision is to have someone coming here, if possible, 3 or 4 times a year. I would say the primary need is follow-up for diabetes. And we have Joy is a nurse who works with the Ministry of Health, and she and some other workers who do some volunteer work and are also working, they're nurses. And she's been with us the last few trips and has been invaluable helping us figure out where they can go for this or for that. And we've been talking about the need. What we're hoping to do is to send down to Orange Walk as many glucose monitors with strips as we can afford to do, because that's the main thing that I'm seeing is people with diabetes that are not well controlled.
There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
It's the biggest pro SC card of the year, as 3 titles are at stake. As lightweight champion Marvin Mundo defends his belt against the #1 contender Raheem Lambe, and flyweight champion Jeffrey Martinez faces a hard-hitting Mexican Miguel Garcia Calderon. Plus KO specialist Diego Lopez from Honduras goes toe-to-toe with Kalen Smith from Belize City for the bantamweight belt. There will also be 11 other exciting MMA fights, including a special international female fight as May Blanco from Mexico faces the Nicaraguan Lady Oscarina Lopez in what is sure to be the fight of the night. General admission tickets are only $30 and VIP tickets are $100. On Saturday, May 17th, Prophecy Fighting Championship present Pro FC 60 Martinez versus Garcia, live from the Princess Vegas Hotel and Casino in Santa Elena, Corazon, exclusively on the Express Plus app.
Pro FC 16 is brought to you by Sherwin-Williams, DigiWallet, Corozal Commercial Free Zone, Bellikin Stout.
In December of 2024, Belize took a significant step in its international peacekeeping efforts by deploying 2 soldiers to Haiti as part of the multinational security support mission coordinated through CARICOM. The deployment aimed to assist in stabilizing the volatile situation in Haiti, providing much-needed support and fostering regional solidarity in times of crisis. Recently, the soldiers returned home, and according to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Francis Fonseca, Belize will not be sending any more troops to Haiti or similar missions in the immediate future. He explained that while Belize remains committed to regional peace and security, there are pressing reasons for the pause. These include the need to reassess the country's military capabilities, ensure the well-being of its personnel, and prioritize other national and regional commitments.
I returned, I think, last week or the week before. Yeah, that was always programmed. They were only going to be there for a specific defined period. That period expired, and so they returned to Belize. Yeah, in terms of any future deployments, that is on pause for now. And really, it's all across CARICOM because there are a number of concerns with the conditions in Haiti. Plus, we're also engaging with the new U.S. administration to see what level of support they will provide. Again, that is an issue that Secretary Rubio raised with the Prime Minister this morning. Haiti as well was discussed. So, we're hopeful that we can get as a region, because Belize's involvement in Haiti is through CARICOM. We're hopeful that as a region we can get a greater sense of clarity in terms of what the U.S. policy is in Haiti with this new U.S. administration. If they are committed to providing the resources needed and the support needed, then I think CARICOM will be prepared to engage further. Once CARICOM is prepared to engage further, then Belize, of course, as a proud member of CARICOM, will be very happy to participate along with CARICOM in that effort to do whatever we can to support our brothers and sisters in Haiti.
The Office of the Prime Minister has announced a significant leadership change in the country's efforts to combat HIV/AIDS. Honorable John Briceño, Prime Minister of Belize, has appointed Senior Minister of State Honorable Dolores Balderramos Garcia as a new chairperson of the National AIDS Commission. Honorable Balderramos Garcia, a respected figure known for her long-standing dedication to social development initiatives, expressed her commitment to the new role. Upon accepting the appointment, she stated, "I am pleased to accept the Prime Minister's appointment because there is still much work to do in combating HIV. I will strive to work with all stakeholders in this continuing challenge." The appointment underscores the government's ongoing commitment to addressing HIV/AIDS as a critical public health issue. Honorable Balderramos Garcia's extensive experience and dedication to social causes are expected to bolster efforts to raise awareness, improve prevention, and expand access to treatment across Belize. The National AIDS Commission will continue its mission to reduce HIV transmission rates and support those living with the virus, with renewed leadership guiding its initiatives. The government's focus remains on fostering collaboration among health agencies, community organizations, and international partners to achieve these goals. As Belize advances its national health strategies, the appointment of Honorable Balderramos Garcia signifies a strong step forward in the country's fight against HIV/AIDS, reaffirming its commitment to the well-being of all Belizeans. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Friday, May 2nd, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read the text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, happy Labor's Day. Thank you for watching and listening. Good night.